All right. We are live on Facebook. So welcome everyone to this ROV Global Meditation for Saturday, September 16th or Sunday, September 17th, if you're Stephen. Welcome all. Thank you to Enlightened World Network for hosting us. And thank you to ROV Facebook page for those of you watching from there. And thanks for those of you joining us live on Zoom. It's wonderful to have you here. So today our practice is non-grasping and non-doing to awaken awareness. So what is that all about? So the purpose of this practice, the aim, so to speak, is to rest as our essential being, is to rest as awareness itself. And that is correlated with, research shows that that's correlated with a deep alpha theta brainwave state. And that's something that we aren't educated in or accustomed to in our culture. We're always asked to be focused on tasks and to be productive and focused on content and thinking. And so this idea of an awareness that is prior to or free from content is something that can be, well, ungraspable, right? So there's a certain letting go, a certain surrender of our minds, of our train of thinking that needs to happen for this to just naturally be present, for our natural essence to be present and us to be aware of it. Yeah, it requires that which we're focused on, content, thoughts, maybe some resistance or emotion in the system that is garnering our attention, that we quiet that down and let that go. So research shows, and we found over years of practice and years of, us all working together, that it's really important to prep the nervous system for this and to release resistance in the system. So resistance being trains of thoughts, trains of feeling, and so on that are occupying our attention. So we have a kind of a series of different phases that we go through into the practice. And I'll guide us through those kind of preparatory phases. And then Stephen's going to take over and guide us into this non-grasping, non-doing. So as usual, the phases begin with conscious relaxation and then awakening sensory awareness. So as we relax and we awaken sensory awareness, the thoughts tend to kind of fade to the background. And then focusing on positive energy flow in the system, especially up through the spine, that engages our attention in a way that connects us with this vitality, this sense of life energy and connection with all of life and with each other. And as that sense of connection and vitality fills our awareness, then thinking and other feelings tend to recede into the background even more. And that opens us to focus into the cues of stillness, silence, and spaciousness. And those are the most subtle bridge into non-grasping and non-doing. So let's move into that practice together now. So make sure you have a comfortable seat, and a good seat height puts your hips level with or slightly above your knees. Have your feet firmly on the ground. And the reason for that is, number one, to feel a sense of grounding, and also to feel a vital energy flow through the legs. So having your feet firmly on the ground, feet parallel with each other, is a good posture for that. And then as usual, we're going to cup our hands with the tips of our thumbs resting in our lap. And so just allow your hands to rest down in your lap, wherever is comfortable. And lightly close your eyes. And first, just allow yourself to settle in your seat. So that's kind of the first non-doing, right? Is just allowing yourself to settle here now. Not trying to do anything, just settling, being present. And just notice anything that might be in your mind or on your heart. Maybe you've been engaged in tasks or focused on thinking or problem solving or feeling some event in your day. So just notice what's present in your system right now. Not trying to change it, just being aware of it, being present with it, allowing it to be just as it is. So just notice any thoughts. Notice any feelings associated with those thoughts. And then just very gently setting them aside, laying them down, just for the moment. And feel yourself present in your environment. Feel this space around you. Feel the space around you as sacred space. Feel the presence and aliveness of this space around you. And feel yourself held, embraced by this sacred space. Notice how that feeling relaxes your body. Now call to mind your intention for your practice. Why is this important to you? Consider that your practice is not only for you, that the effect of your practice extends to all of us gathered here, to your loved ones, to everyone you interact with, and even more widely to all beings and the whole planet. Your practice, your state of consciousness matters to all of us. You're an important part of the whole. So consider dedicating your practice to the benefit and well-being of all beings and the whole planet and all that is. Now let's awaken sensory awareness through our posture cues. First, focusing down into the feeling of contact of your feet on the ground. So awaken sensory awareness in the soles of your feet. Allow your feet and your toes to soften and relax, as if they're melting down into the earth. Feel the grounded presence of the earth, the solid support of the earth. The stillness of the earth. Allow that feeling of grounded presence to flow up through the soles of your feet, up through your shins and calves, up through your knees, your legs, your hips, into your pelvic bowl, resting down in your seat. So feel the weight of your body resting down in your seat, resting down into the support of the earth underneath you. Let go and rest down. Now focus into your palms and fingers resting in your lap. Awaken sensory awareness here in your hands. Allow your hands to soften and relax, as if they're melting down into your legs. Feel that soft openness in your hands, that soft open space in your palms. Feel that soft openness up through your arms, your torso, your shoulders. Relaxing your shoulders down. And now, imagine and feel a string attached to the top of your head, drawing your spine gently upright, like a string of pearls, like a luminous string of pearls. And feel that string of pearls from your perineum and tailbone right up through the core of your body and your spine, right up through the top of your head. And I want you to draw this line of pearls from your perineum and tailbone right up through to the top of your head. So draw that in your body. So just trace it from your perineum, draw it right up through the core of your body, right up through the top of your head. And feel that string of pearls. As luminous. So you might draw it again. So trace it from your perineum and tailbone. Trace that line up like drawing a line of light right up through the core of your body to the top of your head. Feel the luminosity of that line. So you might, if you're a visual person, you might see that. If you're more a kinesthetic person, you might feel the feeling of being drawn upright and feel more energy. You might feel a tingling at the top of your head. So however this arises for you is fine. So draw that line of light, that string of pearls one more time. From your perineum and tailbone, draw it up through the top of your head. And feel that line, that central channel, that string of pearls. Notice how it gives you a feeling of brightness and clarity. Again, maybe a tingling aliveness at the top of your head. Maybe an openness at the top of your head. An expression of light at the top of your head. Now tuck your chin just slightly to gently lengthen the back of your neck. And lightly close your lips, breathing in and out through your nose. And I'm going to invite you to put the tip of your tongue up to the roof of your mouth, so if that's comfortable. If not, you can just rest your tongue up on the roof of your mouth. But if it's comfortable, put the tip of your tongue up on the roof of your mouth. You might feel a tingling aliveness where the tip of your tongue touches the roof of your mouth. That aliveness might go right through the center of your brain and right through the top of your head. It's possible you might feel like your brain lights up with energy. Again, however this appears or doesn't for you, that's fine. Just be open to whatever is happening. Letting go of any ideas about it or about your ability to have an experience. Just noticing what's present. And now smile, a subtle smile, calm happiness, appreciation and gratitude for this time together, for this group, for this practice, for this opportunity to tune in inside and see what happens. Smile of curiosity, of openness and wonder. Allow this curious smile to brighten your eyes. Bring energy to your forehead and the top of your head. Allow this smiling energy to wash down from the top of your head, right down through the center of your brain, down through the tip of your tongue, touching the roof of your mouth, down through this stirring of pearls, right down through the core of your body, through your heart, down through your lower abdomen, down through your tailbone and perineum, as if light is pouring down through the core of your body. However that arises for you. And whatever happens or doesn't happen is just fine. Now allow this river of light, this curious smiling energy, flow down through perineum, down through your seed and down into the earth. Feel into the stillness of the earth. Feel deep down into the earth. Feel the stillness underneath all movement. Deep down in the earth. Feel stillness. Listen to the silence underneath all sounds, deep down in the earth. Listen to silence. Let go into stillness and silence. Notice how there's no boundary or edge to stillness. It's all pervasive. Doesn't begin or end. Likewise, there's no boundary or edge to silence. It extends infinitely in all directions. Into an open, clear, boundless spaciousness. Let go and rest down. Feel out into stillness, silence, and spaciousness. And Stephen will guide us from here.
So as you rest in this stillness, silence, and spaciousness, simply notice what's present. Notice your experience. Meditation can be as simple as watching experience flow. Learning not to stick onto or grasp whatever's happening. Learning not to avoid. Teaching us equanimity. You're learning how to have a deep presence with whatever's happening in your mind, in your body, in your breath, in your feelings. Learning how to accept any states as they arise. Alertness, sleepiness, calm, and restlessness. Sounds that are difficult, sounds that are pleasant. So as you discover this equanimity, there are very simple ways that we can feel into this presence and equanimity. We're going to gently work through what arises in this space, silence and stillness that you're present to. And we're going to rest in the gap between these experiences, beginning with our breath. Just notice your breath in a relaxed way. No agenda. Simply noticing where it arises, either in the nostrils or the chest or the belly. Just that. Keep it very simple for a short time. Just be present with your breath. Now noticing where your breath arises, so your nose or your chest or your belly or somewhere else, maybe it feels like a full body breath. This time, take your breath and follow it all the way on the inhalation until its point of dissolution. Rest in the gap between the inhalation and the exhalation. And then follow the exhalation all the way through to that point of dissolution and stillness. So you're becoming more aware of the gap, stillness. Follow your inhalation again all the way through to its dissolution. Rest in the gap between the inhalation and the exhalation. It's like opening a skylight in the roof and falling through just for a moment. Stay as long as you can. Mind the gap. And then follow the exhalation all the way through to the point of stillness. Rest in that still, silent, spacious. Follow the inhalation all the way through. to the point of dissolution. Rest in the gap between the inhalation and the exhalation. Open the door. Stay there. Then follow the exhalation all the way through to the point of dissolution. Rest in the stillness, silence, and spaciousness. Become even more subtle as the breath becomes more subtle. Notice the texture of the breath as you inhale. Like a beautiful flow, like a river, a current, or the ocean. Followed all the way to its point of dissolution. Rest in that skylight gap. The gap between the inhalation and the exhalation. As long as you can. In the exhalation. All the way through. To the resting and stillness. Silence and spacious. Notice the inhalation. Follow it all the way through to its point of dissolution. Rest in the gap. Open the door. And all the way on the exhalation. Staying as long as you can. In the stillness, the silence, and the spacious. Even more subtle, the breath is hardly even present. Perhaps you're noticing the beautiful quality of the breath itself as you follow it all the way through on the inhalation to its point of dissolution, resting in that skylight beauty, the gap. And following the exhalation all the way, the beauty of that exhalation that's simply now just beauty. And resting in the gap of stillness and silence and spacious. And now as you rest and you open up, let's open up to witnessing thoughts. Perhaps you can't find any thoughts. Simply witness your thoughts now in a relaxed way, with no agenda, just for a very brief time. The subtlety of the breathing now gives rise to subtlety of thinking. And then pick a thought and follow that all the way to its point of dissolution. If there are no thoughts, then bring a thought of your favorite food. I'm eating blueberries. Just follow the thought as long as it remains. Just notice it. All the way to the point of dissolution. Rest in the gap between your thoughts. Open to the gap and then notice the next thought that arises. Or perhaps it's so subtle now. Perhaps it's the same thought. But now there's a different texture, a lightness to the thought as you follow that thought all the way to its point of dissolution. And then rest in the gap between the thoughts, falling through like opening a skylight in your room. It's just a brightness that you can stay as long as you can and minding the gap. Notice what's happening to your thoughts. Perhaps as you become more and more aware of the texture of the thoughts, they're barely there, just like the subtlety of the breath, the beauty of the breath. Now you're feeling into the beauty of your thinking. If another thought arises, simply follow it all the way to its point of dissolution, simply being present, bringing presence to your thinking. When the thought disappears, simply rest in that gap. Open the door. Rest as long as you can. Then notice the next thought as it passes. And follow that through. Rest in the gap between thoughts. Perhaps every thought that arises, no matter what it is now, it's just like the breath. It's a deep beauty, intrinsic joy, sense of equanimity and peace. So now in this very deep, subtle awareness, bring attention to sound. Just witness what sounds are present in a relaxed way. No agenda, no trying, no doing, just simply being present for a short time. Noticing sound. And then if you have a sound that arises, or perhaps it's the sound of silence itself, rest in the presence, this stunningly vast presence of sound. Beauty of the sound, and follow that to its point of dissolution. And just rest in the gap between the sounds. And if the sound is continuous, just rest in the deep presence of being with that sound, of feeling the gratitude or beauty of that sound, or bringing love or openness. And again, when there's a gap, if one sound gives way to another, notice the gap. Rest in the gap between sounds. Stay as long as you can. Or rest in the deep presence of sound, if it's continuous. And then your attention into your body. And just notice the feelings. Perhaps tensions, aches, pains. First of all, simply witness your feelings in the most relaxed way, being totally open to the feelings in the body. Perhaps an ache in your calves, perhaps some movement in your hips, perhaps a tension in your shoulders, or an openness within your mind and brain. Just notice what's present with no agenda for a very short time. The feelings in your body. And then pick a body sensation, a body feeling. So I might choose my calves, since I've just been doing a lot of exercise. It might be an energy in your stomach. It could be a feeling in your chest. Pick a feeling and follow it all the way to its point of dissolution until you notice that you've shifted to another body feeling. And in that moment that you shift, there's this gap. Rest in that gap between feelings in the body. You're simply noticing. And then rest in the new body feeling. So I find now it might be shifting to my chest. So now I'm just resting in the presence of that body feeling. Following that body feeling, the chest feeling, all the way through to its point of dissolution. It's the moment. Resting in the gap between feelings. Rest as long as you can. Mind that gap. And notice the subtlety of the body feeling. What we often think is tensions or aches or pains, when we rest them with them, it might give rise to even deeper, subtler feelings underneath. You might revisit your tension. You're simply following that tension through with the breath all the way to the point of dissolution. Resting in the gap. Noticing what happens when you exhale with that tension. Resting in the stillness. So now you're bringing the simplicity of following the breath and the body, the feeling in the body, all the way through to the point of dissolution at the end of the inhalation. Resting in the gap. And then exhale. Noticing all the tension. Resting that stillness, silence. So you might notice the body feelings too have a subtlety. As you gently remain present with the chest or the calves or the shoulders or the head or the belly or some other part of your body. As you follow this through gently, following the feeling through, all the way to the dissolution, that perhaps the ache or pain or tension begins to transform. As you rest in the gap, there is no tension for just a moment, for just a split second. There might be still some energy there, but there's no longer any suffering associated with that body feeling. There's this sense of equanimity and peace. And on the exhalation, it even more deeply opens to the beauty and the feeling itself. As you then rest in the silence and the stillness and the spaciousness. Now you find that that silent stillness and spaciousness mingles with the breath and with the feeling in the body. It's just this simple the skylag open, or as if presence itself is mingling with your eyes or your mind or your heart or your chest or your breath or your thoughts or your sounds. It's mingling with your energy and it's mingling with your body. Let presence meditate you. Presence. Let presence. Now drop all the practices altogether. Simply dissolve into oneness itself. Be that oneness. Be that oneness of equanimity, peace, love, compassion. That is boundless. And slowly, very slowly, like a child, open your eyes as presence or spaciousness, love, equanimity. As you open your eyes, remain very, very still. And feel into every moment as an opportunity to be that gap or presence of openness and equanimity, peace. Every single moment arises as an opportunity to be that. And then as you move with presence. Presence with beauty or loving feelings in the body, with the thoughts of compassion, with the light of awareness. And consider dedicating your practice, the merits from this practice, to all your friends, to all those that need help and healing and love. And just note any insights, any moments that were particularly poignant. Anything that you might be able to bring into everyday life. It's a way of integrating this practice into being present throughout your day. Kevin, thank you always for your pristine guidance. That is so seamless and effortless. And thank you, everybody. And I'll pass back to Kevin for anybody who would like to share anything that was present during our collective practice.
Guidance. Thank you all for being present with us. These group practices really amplify the energy and the presence that we all feel. So thank you. And if anyone would like to share about your experience, either in the chat or out loud, we welcome that. Yes, Monica.
Thank you guys both so much for being here and leading these practices. They're so invaluable. And I think at the beginning, I noticed I just love I can tune into the vision and then the sense of that prior to content and forms. Kevin was saying it just helps me realize there is a space where there's nothing, before all forms, and it just helps me a lot for whatever reason. And then I just really feel my default is becoming more and more that observer of all forms, mental, emotional, spiritual, or thoughts, feelings. It's becoming more of the default, which is really nice. And if I feel uncomfortable or like a uncomfortable feeling or something, it's just like, oh, I'm that which is aware of that. And it just really, my practice right now is becoming more and more about being that. And it's just more of a consistent thing now. I definitely have to practice it, but it's becoming more like that. So I'm really grateful. Thanks so much, you guys.
Thank you, Monica. That's beautifully described, and how that space of awareness starts as moments. It's like, that. And then as we just keep returning to that, especially when we feel something uncomfortable, like you said, it's a really powerful moment that's the opportunity to, as you said, to recognize that you are the one who's aware of that's happening in this boundless space of awareness that you are. So really well described, and also how it changes with practice. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we sometimes talk about the default mode network of thoughts, thinking, self-referential thinking. And so I like how you use that word of default. That becomes your new default.
Yeah, I got the word from you guys. But it's so nice because my mind used to get caught in the forms, and then maybe like a day later I'd recognize, oh, I got caught up in the forms. And now it's like moments. I'll be like, oh, I got caught up in, but it's not days anymore. It might be like, you know, moments or minutes. So I see the progress. It's very encouraging. So
Mm.
thanks so much, you guys.
Thanks, Monica. Thank you. Let's see. Anne says, I'd like to say thank you once again. I had a fleeting moment of feeling the space in the tension of my shoulders, just like it dissolved momentarily. And when we were focusing on thoughts, it was like I experienced the thought disappearing out the doorway. Ah, nice imagery. Good. Thank you, Anne. Beautifully said. Yeah, it's these moments that we have that start to build and grow and extend. And when we just mind them, just pay attention to them. Pay attention to whatever is arising. And know that you are the one who's aware of the tension, the one who's aware of that feeling of space. You are the one who's aware. There's real freedom in that. Thank you, Anne. Anyone else before we go? Karen is nodding and smiling. So that may be your comment, or you may have something else to say.
I just wanted to share that I felt a lot of resistance to that letting go into the open space. I could feel, the tension in the body, and sometimes it's more relaxed than others. But when there's tension, I can feel the resistance to letting it go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just recognizing those held patterns that you talk about, those tension patterns, just being able to be with them, even when there's resistance,
Mm-hmm.
To feeling it. It's like you don't want to see it, you don't want to feel it.
Yeah.
And but then with the practice, the practice of coming back and letting go, it gets deeper.
Mm.
And the mind gets very quiet, and that's very helpful.
Mm.
So thank you all.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, and you might even say, especially when there's resistance, right? That's like, if we can turn our minds around to, that's the biggest opportunity we have. Like that moment of resistance where you're pushing against it or pushing it away, that seeing that, feeling that's it right there. There's an opening there. There's an awareness there that makes a difference. Yeah. Thank you, Karen. Bill, any comment before we go?
Just a couple of quick words. You, Kevin, and Stephen, for the wonderful sessions. To me, they're just it's like an anchor. Sitting down with this group, it's like an anchor. It just settles you right. It settles down, and the waves lap away. Doesn't matter. Because you just feel. And Monica, I loved your comments there. They were great. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. And Liz says, thanks so much, guys, with heart, strong arm, water, vortex. Thank you, Liz. Thank you for being here. All right. Stephen, anything you want to say to
No,
close?
once again, Kim, just the collective presence is really very rich. I love that feeling. when we're doing these practices together, it's like all your wisdom is arising at the same time. So we're just simply pointing to that. So thank you, everybody. It's an absolute honor and a great joy, always. And always a great joy to do this with you, Kevin, because I realize in the next few weeks we will be traveling a little, or I certainly will be. So I'm looking forward to that very much.
Thank you, Stephen. It's a true pleasure doing this with you and with all of you. And yes, in a couple, let's see, a week from this Thursday, we will be hosting a retreat day in Sedona. And that is, some of us will be there in person together, meeting for the first time, which would be wonderful. And it's available to everyone to participate in virtually online. So we'll broadcast the whole day. And it goes from early in the morning till late at night. So there's information on that in the on the Raising Our Vibration community Facebook page. We'll also send a link via email to everyone who's in the practice group page, and we'll post it around more now that we're getting real close. So everybody's aware of how to participate in that if you'd like to. So we'd love to have you on that event. So thank you again, everyone, for being here. Such a joy, and love and blessings to all. We look forward to seeing you again. Let's see, this Thursday we'll have a humanities team session, and then the next time we meet will be from Sedona. So can't wait. All right. Have a wonderful week. Love and blessings to all. And
Bye.
bye. Bye.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye, Elizabeth. Bye, Karen.
Yeah, much love to everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.